welcome back to Degrassi, the class of nostalgia. I'm Michaela,
And I'm Amber.
and today, if y'all watched our last episode, you know we gonna be talking about Spain. Oh, let me
And
move
we
up.
don't mean Barcelona.
I didn't say like you cheetah girls. You that's literally been making a comeback on what's it called? TikTok. What's it called? TikTok. On TikTok, everybody keep talking about
I was gonna say TikTok, but I didn't know if that's what you meant.
everybody been I don't know if they've been going to Barcelona or because you know the steps they did on Strut when they was doing the dance and everything. Literally people been going to the steps and do it. I saw one video this guy did it by himself, and I saw this other video where it was like a group of skaters, like roller skaters, and they did it, but they did it in roller skates. And I was like, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they did it in heels when it was back in what 2006 or whatever, but I was like, how they doing this?
Cheetah Girls 2 really in
Uh,
2006?
Because Cheetah Girls was in 2000s or 2001. So Cheetah Girls 2 had to be probably earlier than that.
You're right.
See, that's what happens when you watch a movie over and over and over and over and over again. I haven't even looked that up in years. I just knew it from memory because I watched it so much.
Oh my god.
When Cheetah Girls Gone World come out, I'm gonna say 2009.
Oh my god.
I hope, but that's like 3 years
more,
though.
That makes more sense though with because how it looked. It does seem like a 2008 you was close.
Dang, I said 2009, didn't I?
Yeah.
Dang, I was so close.
I didn't know there was only. So that means Cheetah Girls came out. You said 2001.
You need to fact check it. Don't even though I got the second movie right. That was my favorite movie.
But
so
it does seem like a early 2000s film.
yeah.
Okay. They don't have the first one up.
Yeah. Because everybody looking up the second one because he's trying to do the TikTok trend. I don't know why I always feel like I feel like y'all can hear me, but I always feel like I gotta move it closer to my mouth.
2003.
2003?
Yeah.
Why did I see it? I swear on Netflix it said like 2000. I was like, it came out in 2000. 2003 makes more sense in my head though. So they all basically came out within 3 years of themselves.
Yeah.
Or 2-3 years. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so today we're talking about Spain. So to be honest, it's probably more of like a Jane. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's gonna be mainly Jane because I mean Spinner contributed a lot to the relationship, but I don't think he really changed.
Yeah, once after everything with him and Jimmy happened, I felt like he stayed this way. Like even when he was on that episode where he was trying to hire Eli and all that stuff.
Yeah, he still stayed the same.
Yeah. Oh, and then
I
wore this shirt because you know Spinner owns the dot.
And I wore this shirt because I haven't worn it in 2 videos.
That's true. We try to periodically. And then if anybody doesn't know, we got these off Amazon because somebody on TikTok was like, "Oh, I love your shirt." It said on one. I think it was your video, and it was this shirt.
Yeah, because I was trying to be Holly J. She worked at the dot.
Yeah, so it's like it's on Amazon. The shirts actually are really well. We had them for like a minute now, but we can't find no. If y'all know where we can find Degrassi merch, like specifically like shirts and stuff, please let us know because
we need more.
we
only have 3 shirts.
Yeah, we've been trying to find shirts. I mean, it's not that bad because it's like we film these videos
every month.
Yeah, so it's not like we keep wearing the shirts. We only wear them when we film, really.
Yeah.
And so, but
I've worn it out like a couple times though.
Shirts ain't gonna last that long if you keep wearing them and wearing them and wearing them. They're gonna wear. Them. So yeah, let us know if on our social media because this ain't just going on YouTube. Can just be like comment down below, but let us know on our social media anything if y'all have merch because we'd be willing to buy some merch. We bought stuff from Etsy before, so those are people who make stuff. And if you know where we can buy stuff, that'd be great. So to get into Spain, I feel like it's so many layers. But I guess they kind of started off like a Romeo and Juliet type of situation because she was from Lakehurst and he was from Degrassi, obviously.
Romeo and Juliet, but
they weren't like Romeo and Juliet, but I meant more like the feuding schools coming together, and they was the only 2 people, not the only 2 people, but the first 2 people to like really interact from the separate schools. Other than I guess Mia, which I still never looked that up to confirm if she transferred from Lakehurst before everybody else because
she was there first.
Yeah, or if she just went to Degrassi and just so happened to know people from Lakehurst because her baby daddy went to Lakehurst. So I don't know that story. I really don't care to know because I don't care for
that would be the Romeo and Juliet if she did start off in Degrassi. He was from Lakehurst.
That's true because then JT had that whole feud with the dude, that ended up unaliving him. But I can't. I'm not even gonna start. Jeopardy was the last episode, so we're not gonna go into
We look at our last video to know all about Jeopardy.
Yeah, but I was gonna mention how come we never really saw Jane as like an aunt because she had a niece.
Yeah,
but they at least the way they made it seem like the dude was at least somewhat in the daughter's life.
I mean, they made it seem like he was in the daughter's life, but how much was he in the daughter's life for real?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But like Jane seemed like the type of person, especially how much she stuck up for Mia, that she would want to see her. But
remember when she did try to see the daughter a lot, Mia wouldn't let her.
That's true. Which I don't understand.
I don't know why. You wouldn't want more support?
Yeah.
So I don't
trust her more than trust my baby daddy.
I don't really care about Mia. So
yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to talk about Mia with was because I was like, Jane seemed like she could be such a cool aunt. So it's like, why isn't? But they were still in high school, so kind of makes sense.
I'm sure
but it was
when
like,
they went to college, she was probably more in the baby's life.
Yeah. I wonder where that baby would be today. Like, people keep talking about another thing on just social media in general, not just TikTok, about like Jenna, or at least I've been thinking about Jenna's baby, JT's baby, or Jeopardy's baby, and like Isabella and stuff. Like are they gonna make a comeback on the reboot because they don't only like kids in the next generation series, so they like.
But I wonder how old would they be though.
Isabella might be older than high school age. Yeah. But I think Tyson, because that's, or whatever, Doug, whatever his name is now, I think he would be high school age or probably older.
Would he be high school age?
He might not be high school age.
He might be middle school age.
Yeah. And then who else is that? Oh, Jeopardy's baby, they probably would be older.
Almost high school.
Yeah, because Isabella would have been older than, because she was like 3 when Jeopardy had their baby, so she would have been a few years older than.
I'm trying to think when was that? Jeopardy had a baby 2005, 6.
That makes sense because it's the 6th season or
so that means she would be born like 2003, 2002. So that means she'll be basically like how Emma started.
Yeah,
probably. But if they go off the timeline now, she will probably be about to go to college. I think she'll be 18.
Oh.
So I don't think she would be involved.
They would just have to be like, oh, we're going back a couple years.
Yeah, they'll probably either change the timeline, or if they go off the timeline, the other 2 would be in high school.
Yeah.
If they go to high school. Because I know they started out in middle school.
And that's another thing. We kind of going off Spane. We still talking about Spane, but like not talking about Spane. But I was going to ask you. So somebody on Twitter was talking about, I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast, but people were talking about like, oh, what do you think the reboot going to be about and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm thinking like they probably going to kind of, I don't know, because maybe they'll be like, this is too similar, but I feel like they're going to try to follow somewhat of the same pattern as the next generation. So they're probably going to start it with like certain teachers, maybe characters that was on there before. Like we might see Marco, yeah, we might see Holly J, we might see Paige, like certain characters that you were like, oh, they're gonna get away from Degrassi, they're probably gonna come back. Like maybe even Ellie, she's gonna be like the next Caitlin and all that stuff. Like we probably gonna see characters come back, and then either some kids, like we just said, like Isabella, Tyson, Jeopardy's baby, or we're going to see like kids that were maybe part of Degrassi before that we never really thought of. And then they were like, are we going to see it like grow like how Next Generation did? Or are they going to completely not include no characters at all? Like, are we not going to see Emma, Manny, everybody like that? And it's just going to be like random people, like the start of a whole new cast of people, which I don't think that's never happened before. Like, I think every time.
The only person we guaranteed to see is Mr. Simpson. Because he probably still gonna be principal.
But see, that still connects. I'm saying, like, are we gonna even have any sort of connection, or are we gonna have no connection at all? Like nobody from any of the series come on there.
That would be different, and I don't think they would do that.
I don't think they would do that either. But like some people was like,
at least Mr. Simpson knew.
Yeah, like people saying like Cassie Steele might come up because Cassie Steele is still an actress and she's still like, because like certain people I don't know if they would still want to be part of it because I don't even know if they're acting, but like Cassie Steele, she's still acting, of course. We might see Drake, even though Drake tried to act like he'd never been on Degrassi. Yeah. Um, Stacey Farber, who played Ellie, she also still acts, so she might come on the show. I feel like certain people, like we just said, Mr. Simpson, he probably might want to be on it because he always talks about Degrassi, but I know he's working on, like, I think he produces and directs a lot of other series, so maybe he might not want to join anymore because he's gonna be like, I'm done with that chapter. And
He's still not gonna at least produce.
well, because people were saying the guy that played Joey, from the older seasons, he said he after he would did the next generation, the earlier seasons, he wasn't gonna come back because a lot of people were saying that's the reason why Angie's character was turned into Tori's character, because they was like, if we have her be Angie, people gonna be like, where's Joey and Craig and all this stuff, and it was like they might not. Oh, that's another person. Craig might come back because he's so active.
Craig was old enough to take care of Angie on his own, so even if. Because I feel like Craig would have the actor that played Craig would still want to come back.
Yeah. But yeah,
they definitely could have still used Angie and just had Craig and then mentioned Joey. It's not like the guy said, don't mention Joey at all.
Exactly, yeah. He's dead. But no. Yeah. But
I mean, they could have killed him off. I mean, that'd be sad, but he didn't want to be involved.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, like, what's your thought on it? Because on our Twitter, I said that's basically what I said. I said either they're gonna wipe it clean and we're gonna have no mention of no characters, or we're gonna see some characters probably be principals, teachers, kids, like people have kids and stuff like that.
I feel like that's gonna be the one, like we're gonna see cameos from like either cameos or them gonna be like how Miss Kwan was, like somebody's gonna be like a Miss Kwan or Miss O, like they're gonna be there like either a recurring teacher, or we're gonna see cameos. A teacher like Marco was a cameo teacher for a little bit.
Yeah.
Substitute. But I feel like they're gonna definitely bring people back because people want, not only do you want new audience, but you want the old audience too. So they just like, let me make it nostalgic a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like it's gonna be new characters, of course, but I also think it's gonna be older characters from new class and from next class and new class. Next class. They probably gonna call it new class. Next class and next generation are gonna come. So
well, they saying they just gonna call it Degrassi.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, because you know how like Scream just had a new movie, but they just called it Scream. They didn't call it like Scream 5 and stuff like that. They called it Scream, and it just said Scream 2022.
Everybody else called it Scream 5.
Well, yeah, because we know which number it is, but it was mostly called Scream. But okay, so with Spane, we kind of talk about the Lakehurst part. I feel like that wasn't a big. I think that's what caught Jane's attention, but it wasn't a big part of their relationship. Like the only part was like, oh, you're from Lakehurst, oh, you're from Degrassi. That was really it. It was no rift between them.
I don't think Spinner cared that she was from Lakehurst.
Yeah,
because he was dealing with his own stuff.
Yeah. Well, when it started, he was like the hero for everybody because he kept, whenever like somebody from Lakehurst would bully somebody, he was like the Superman. He was like, oh,
you don't do that.
Yeah. And then that probably goes into what you was about to talk about with the
Well, going off that's a different thing too. Because when you said he was playing hero, I think he was playing hero because of the whole Rick thing. That was still fresh. He was like, I'm not gonna let nobody bully nobody ever again.
Yeah.
Like it ain't gonna be me who bully, ain't gonna be nobody around me who bully. I'm gonna beat up who bully. But I was gonna say the reason why he didn't care about her being from Lakehurst because he was dealing with cancer.
Yeah, because that's exactly that. I think that was around the same time.
Yeah,
and
like he literally was. I think at first he was just like defending people, and then all of a sudden he like, whoa, what's going on in my body? And then I'm gonna find out he having cancer.
Yeah, and I think that's
the balls. I heard.
This not funny, but I think it was kind of funny that we just did the Jeopardy episode, and the episode where he found out, or at least he started having like pains in his downstairs area, was when the Lakehurst people was talking about JT, after he had passed away, and Liberty was like, well, I think the whole thing started because Danny was in a fight with somebody because he talked about JT, and then Liberty got involved, and that's when everything. So it's just funny because that connects both episodes. It's literally that's the episode where Spinner basically finds out that he has cancer.
We just had the funeral and y'all beating up these poor people. You
Yeah.
talking about JT like he's still alive or something. He's not alive. He's unalived.
I think you said he's talking about they disrespecting him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They disrespecting him.
Yeah.
But they disrespecting him like he was still alive. Like he can defend himself. He can't defend himself.
No, they talking about him like he not alive because they know that he can't say nothing. That's why they was like, "Oh, you ain't gonna do nothing. That's you a girl, and you're not gonna do nothing. You short and small."
All the Lakehurst guys were cowards. Let's be honest.
Definitely, 100%. Johnny was one of. Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike Johnny, and I definitely think he had a lot of growth. But at that time, obviously, he was a kind of a punk. How you gonna be like this? Oh, I'm just. And I don't even know what they're.
Go to the school where your friend killed somebody.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even want to go.
How you gonna look people in the face and stuff, and you were there? Not saying he could have stopped anything, but the fact that he was just standing there and was like, "Oh, what you do, man?" Like what?
Now, let's call the police.
Yeah, and I think
this is bad.
I think that's what makes me, because like some people like Johnny and Allie, but I think that was I think it was a touched on needed subject, but it also was like people was like, oh, we kind of thought they was cute, and I'm like, I'm on the fence because I think that they both needed the relationship, but it definitely was not a relationship that needed to be had, but it was also needed to be had, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because it helped Allie grow.
Yeah, and obviously it helped him grow. We saw how he was, and they were still friends.
That's true.
So obviously it was good in certain ways and like terrible in other ways.
Yeah.
And so after that whole situation happened, we had Spinner dealing with cancer, but I feel like they didn't really, because like with Mr. Simpson, they kind of really touched on it a little more, but I feel like with Spinners, they really just was like, oh, you have cancer, and then he got the surgery, and then it was just kind of like he was bald for a couple episodes. Still
going through chemo, I think, though, but I don't think it was heavy chemo.
But I mean, like they didn't really touch on it that much, or at least I don't feel like they did.
I think it was more of his journey through cancer, like from his lenses. Like, I don't think we didn't need a doctor's perspective similar to like Mr. Simpson. I think they was trying to make it more of a medical thing. Spinner, his is more of a personal journey. Yeah. And because, his dad who died from the cancer, so he had to go through that too. And it was the same cancer his dad had.
Oh, so why he didn't get... Don't they have a thing like that for females? Like if anybody in your family has it, you have to get the BRCA gene test or something like that. Mm-hmm. I know I have some experience.
Do mammograms.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, why they don't do that? Do they do that for males now?
I think that.
Okay. I feel like they do. I ain't saying like, oh, yeah.
I'm not
yeah, we're not medical professionals. I just say, yeah.
I think that's what they do. If they don't come at us. Yeah, I think they do that.
And I do feel like his journey, I don't think another thing that I don't really feel like, the one thing I really liked about Spane was I don't feel like their personal journeys really affected their relationship. Like it wasn't like, oh, I'm doing this thing, so like you need to focus on me, or like I'm going, like they would say like, I'm going through this thing, let me deal with it myself. But it was never like, let me annoy you, like, oh, what you doing, let me help you, let me do this, let me do that. Like I don't feel like it was ever like, I don't know, you see relationships on Degrassi that's like, okay, if this person going through something, they always like up their butt basically, like, oh, what can I do to help, what can I do? And it's like sometimes that person needs to go through their own personal thing to be better in a relationship. And I feel like that's what Spane did. That's one of the reasons I really like Spane, because it was like Jane was her own individual, Spinner was his own individual, and they just happened to be in a relationship. Out of all the relationships that we've talked about so far on this podcast, like Simma, Eclair, I don't know why I forget all the relationship, Simma, Eclair, and then just Gibberty, I feel like at certain points it was about them, and that's what made their relationship deteriorate. Like Simma Emma was always trying to protect Sean. Sean was always trying to protect Emma.
Yeah, it was that was like a battle between them two. Who can protect the other person more?
And then with Gibberty, I feel like it wasn't until she got pregnant that it was kind of like dependent on each other. Like I feel like they were kind of individuals that was together, and then that's why I was like,
their dynamic was so cute. And then she said, "Oh, I'm pregnant," and everything changed after that car accident.
exactly that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like if they didn't get, but like I understand everybody need a story and everything, but I just wish she didn't get pregnant because that would have changed so much.
Yeah, I think it'd be different. They probably would have still broken up, but they definitely would have got back together quicker than
It wouldn't have been like it was. And then Eclair, we know their relationship was very dependent on one another. Eli very much was dependent on Eclair.
It was because of his mental health, though, that we felt.
That's true, but I'm just saying that still affects their relationship.
Oh, definitely.
And I feel like Claire
Claire didn't know how to handle somebody with mental health.
Yeah, but Claire was still heavily dependent on Eli. I feel like it was definitely, I think, like you just said, it goes back to his mental health. But I feel like Claire was still dependent on him.
Once he got it under control, Eli was fine, of course, until he.
But I still feel like they was dependent on each other.
Well, I was gonna say with the Eclair thing, I think Eli was getting better as time got on, and then he cheated on her when she had cancer, and then called her a whore when she got pregnant, even though it was his baby.
Exactly.
And then after they went through the whole miscarriage, then that's when their dynamic started to, I feel like, get better. They started to be their own person.
Yeah, because even on the finale when she was like, I gotta take time to find out who I am before we can really be like together. I can't just be like, you my person. Exactly. I guarantee you it was no like journey. She went probably to some other country because when people graduate they always be like, let's go on this big trip. She probably went on some big trip with her family and then came back and was like, oh okay, yeah, we can be together now. I'm like, what? It's only been 2 weeks. It's only been a week. And
Eli sitting there waiting for her with flowers, like, yeah,
exactly. I knew he was gonna come back to me. Yeah, so after everything, did you have any more comments about the Spinner cancer thing? Because I feel like I don't really have no opinions about it just because I feel like that was his own personal thing. I don't feel like it had no part.
It's like his own personal thing featuring Jane. Like she knew that he had to go through his own journey, and she knew that he knew that she was gonna be there for him. And like they didn't need to she didn't need to say I'm gonna be there for you, stuff like that. He had just already knew.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like they love Blossom from that. I mean, that makes sense. They always say if you go through something, it's either gonna
make you stronger
or weaken you.
Yeah.
So the fact that it made him stronger, that's what made me like Jane and Spinner in the first place, is because not only was she not up his ass,
exactly,
and I say ass, yes, up his butt. Sorry, I forgot this is gonna be on YouTube. Up his butt. And what's it called? And she was there for she supported him. She supported him without being like, oh, you crowded me.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Spinner, he wasn't like pushing her away. Like you could tell at some points he wanted to, but then he decided, no, let me just their friendship really did blossom.
Yeah.
Because of their dynamic.
And then also I feel like Jane and Jimmy really were friends too. But I guess because he graduated before them, they kind of just didn't talk about it anymore. Because just like Amber said at first, this is fresh in them starting a friendship again. So when he started hanging out with Jane was hanging out with Jimmy too. So it was like I wanted to see that friendship.
That's true.
So I feel like they were probably really good friends, just as much as her and Spinner. Just her and Spinner went into romantic, and her and Jimmy was just friends. But yeah, so after everything with the cancer, I think this is around the time when they were trying to figure out their life together. This is when they really started solidifying their relationship.
Because he was already about to graduate.
Yeah, and wasn't this, because I was like, I forgot this was a whole storyline, because when I looked back at it, I was like, I didn't even know this was a whole storyline. But Spinner was saying he was going to go to the police academy so he could become a police officer. And then I believe Jane was trying to be a lawyer. I'm not 100% for sure, but I know they both were trying to do something in the same field, basically. Like she was going to be a lawyer, he was going to be a police officer, kind of in the same field. And Jane and Spinner.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Was that the next storyline? I don't remember where it was placed, just because I had totally forgot it was even a storyline. But I believe it was after he had cancer, and they were solidifying their relationship. And I think this was the next part. And so I feel like, and I think they even broke up because what ended up happening, spoiler alert if y'all don't, because like I said, I didn't even see this storyline until recently, but Spinner didn't get into the police academy. And instead of telling Jane, he kind of just was like, oh yeah, our lives is set up. We're going to go to the same area and we're going to be together forever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's true. I think I remember that now.
Yeah. And then I believe Jane got upset. And then he got upset because Jane was upset, and then they broke up. But they got back together literally like the same episode. But I think that happened, and I feel like that kind of changed their relationship. Not necessarily for the worse. I think it changed it for the better, because it was like Jane was like, why did you have to lie? And then Spinner was like, I didn't want to disappoint you, because if y'all know, Spinner was graduating before Jane because he was like a year or two older than her. Well, I think it was more than that, but because he got sent back twice, because once with
cancer, and then because of the whole Rick thing.
Yeah, so he probably was older more than 2 to 3 years, but that was a whole
20 when he graduated.
Honestly, yeah, if he was sent back 2 years.
Yeah.
And I felt like that kind of changed their dynamic. It made them closer, but I felt like their relationship was already pretty solid. So it was like, it really didn't affect it too much. And I felt like after that, the whole football thing, that was when I really started to like them.
That's
I started
when
to like Jane.
Was her peak best.
Yeah, like I feel like I started to like Jane as a character, and I started to like Spinner and Jane's relationship, because I definitely felt like Spinner, in my opinion, I would never think Spinner would be there to support his girlfriend trying to play football. That, in my mind, when
Spinner would support his girlfriend,
I'm talking about like early Spinner. Like if I'm watching, if somebody tells me the Spinner that was like, you can't be gay, Marco, and the Spinner, yeah, and the Spinner that was like, oh yeah, that's my girlfriend playing football, that don't click. Like it's a good thing. I ain't saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that I would have never thought those some years ago when he was like, Marco, you can't be gay, would be the same Spinner that's like cheering on his girlfriend playing football.
Same Spinner that went out with Paige.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even have thought that. I would have never put those two Spinners. Like if somebody told me when I was watching the series at first, like this guy is gonna be supporting his girlfriend in the next couple years, I'm gonna be like, what? Playing football? Like, see that? And I feel like that's good, because it's really showing Spinner's growth. Like he really grew. Like I feel like you can't. Like I'm pretty sure if you ask anybody who watched Degrassi, because people who don't watch Degrassi don't know, but if you ask anybody on Degrassi, they're gonna be like, who is the character that had the most growth? I'm pretty sure people want to say Spinner, because he really just did this whole, I always say it wrong, what, 360, 180, whatever? 180. I always say 360, but Amber's like, oh, that's a full circle. So basically you just going back to what you started. But
I mean, I understand when people say, because 360 sounds more right, because it sounds, it's bigger than 180. But if you think about it, full circle means you're going right back to where you started. But if you think about it, half, if I'm turning this way, that's half, then that's different than me going all the way around.
Yeah.
So that's how I like to tell people, but they still say 360, and I just deal with it. But
I do be saying 360 show, but I don't be meaning to.
Yeah, I know what people mean when they say 360, but if you look at it in a
technical,
mathematical standpoint, like I do, it's the same thing. But that's just me.
But I feel like Jane, again, just like, not comparing them, but I'm just saying their own personal journey. Just like Spinner had to deal with the cancer, Jane had to deal with, everything she had to deal with the football team and trying to get on the football team. And can I just say, like, the worst principal, freaking Mr. Radish, whatever the freak his name is, that was him, right? Or was Mr. Radish the one? Oh no, Mr. Shepard.
Yeah, but
Mr. Shepard, whatever the freaking
Mr.
name.
Radish was the the older one.
Yeah, my bad. Mr. Radish was bad too, but I feel like at certain points you can at least tell he kind of care about the kids.
He was bad, but you could deal with it.
Yeah, like you could kind of tell he cared a little bit. Yeah. It wasn't like
now Mr. Shepard. I don't even know what they was thinking. They was like, we got to have some problematic principles.
Yeah,
they need the most problematic.
Because at least Mr. Radish, I was like, he felt like he cared a little bit, and like I think he was a teacher there. He kind of had some relationship with the teachers, so it wasn't like I'm gonna completely put kids in harm's way. This dude was up here trying to put kids in harm's way. He was trying to intentionally, like, I don't know, like intentionally deteriorate certain kids.
And was
like
he the Lakehurst principal?
I hope not. If he was the Lakehurst principal, why in the freak was he the Degrassi principal?
But I feel like he was the Lakehurst principal. That's why he came there. I think that's why.
That's great.
And then that's when they was like, why are we choosing him? Why we can't just choose Mr. Simpson?
Yeah. That's dumb. That dude was a terrible principal.
Very horrible. I mean, him being a coach for the football team makes sense.
Yeah, do your thing.
Him being a principal did not make sense.
It didn't.
And why would a principal be the football coach?
It probably is some principals that's probably football coaches.
And where the teacher, what a teacher named that always been there, the black guy.
Yeah, that's true.
I forgot his name.
I think he was still there. Maybe he just wasn't in the coach.
Was he not the football coach?
Because he was the football coach when Casey was the football coach. I mean, was playing football.
But maybe because I think they chose him after the guy left.
Oh, okay.
But
that makes sense.
They should have chose him from the beginning.
Yeah, because he been there that long.
Yeah,
he was still there.
He was there for Emma and them, ain't it?
Yeah. So because remember that whole thing with Liberty, and it was like, oh
yeah, because I remember because he was Spinner's math teacher. He said, "Oh, you got this wrong." He said, "Oh, what if he had sticky underarms?"
Oh, I was like, what?
That was like one of the when I saw the cringy Degrassi cringiest moments compilation, and he was saying, "You gotta change this." He said, "Oh, what I gotta do?" And his arm is this. He was like,
"Dude, take a shower."
And I don't know if that was like meant to be like for the show, or if Spinner, the actor that played Spinner, was actually stinky and he was like making a face.
Oh my gosh. That would have been so embarrassing if it was I'm pretty sure it was for Degrassi because I feel like everything was intentional, probably.
Because if it was not and they just kept that in there, that's kind of sad. But if it was part of Degrassi, then it makes sense because he looked like he intentionally put his arm up too.
Yeah.
Because he put it on the thing. So that's why I was like, who does that? Who does this?
Exactly.
So yeah, I feel like it was intentional.
Yeah, but I don't want to touch too much on the football situation just because, like we said, like with the cancer situation, I feel like that was his personal journey. And the football, that was her personal journey. But I just really liked how Spinner was supporting her because that just wasn't, the Spinner that we're used to. You could tell that he really started to grow. And that's when I really was like I said, that's when I really was like, okay, Spane, I can get with that.
Yeah.
And
I got with Spane from the beginning though. I already
was Spane from the beginning, but I'm not gonna lie. Even though I like Jane, I was like, she's still from Lakehurst.
That's true.
So I mean,
at first I was kind of skeptical about her, but I don't know, something about Jane when she first came in, like she seemed like a cool person in general. Like if I saw her when I was in high school, if I had saw her, I would want to get to know her.
Yeah.
Because she seemed like somebody who was approachable. Even though she looked the way she did, I still felt like she was approachable. And she does seem like somebody I would be friends with from when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't think it was necessarily Jane, like her personality or the way she looked. I just think because I literally was like, she's from Lakehurst.
Yeah, I mean,
so something going to deteriorate the relationship. Something going to happen that's going to be like shock the relationship. But I mean, eventually it did, but it had nothing to do with her being from Lakehurst.
I never really saw the Lakehurst people as Lakehurst people until they kept on mentioning, "Oh, I'm from Lakehurst."
Yeah,
I didn't even think about it until they said, "Oh, I'm from Lakehurst."
But to be honest, I think they tried to separate, especially when she started playing football. You can tell they kind of tried to go away from that because I don't know if it's just me, but I definitely like season 6, 7, 8. Maybe it was like 7, 8. You could tell they were trying to transition some of their storylines because like they didn't really talk about Lakehurst. A lot of people, especially my age, or on TikTok and stuff be like, oh, I didn't know they went to Lakehurst. I didn't know these specific, like, people didn't know Holly J was from Lakehurst. People didn't know Mia was from Lakehurst, even though, like we said, we don't know.
That's weird that Holly J went to Lakehurst, because didn't Heather Sinclair, which is her sister,
Yeah,
go
went
to
to
Degrassi? So
Degrassi.
that don't make sense.
It don't. So that makes sense why people don't know that. But like, they, like, certain characters they didn't know were from Lakehurst, and they was like, oh, I didn't know it was just different school. And like, because I always be like, it's so weird to me that if nothing happened to Lakehurst, these characters wouldn't even be here. And they're like, what you talking about? I was like, they were from Lakehurst, so they not originally from Degrassi. And they like, what? I didn't know that. But I just think that's funny. And I feel like around the time Jane started playing football is really when you could tell they were trying to separate themselves from that storyline. I don't know if they thought it wasn't working or what, but I mean, it kind of wasn't working in the fact that after JT died, it was like, let's not keep talking about it. Like, either we need to find a storyline that's going to resolve the issue, or we're just going to completely forget about it because nobody gonna care anymore.
Yeah.
So, and then, like we said, we weren't really going to try to touch too much on the football situation. But then another situation that I don't know why I keep forgetting, but Jane and Spinner were in a band together. And I don't know what it was called when
Jane and
I know it was called the Studs, and
I think
then
that's
Peter.
Jane and the Studs.
Okay, because I was about to say, everything
was
but freaking Peter.
But I say just the Studs when Peter was there, and then Peter had his whole drug thing,
Yeah.
which helped them, not help Jane, but sorry, which in turn Jane substituted for Peter, I guess, until he was better.
And then it was like, you suck. We don't want you back.
Not that you suck,
Basically.
but they didn't trust him because
yeah.
he was a drug
yeah.
addict.
Excuse me, they didn't trust him.
I ain't trying to be
wouldn't trust him from the beginning.
To Peter right now.
Yeah.
But, even though it's so easy.
It really is.
But Jane, they interchanged Jane and the Studs, I believe, because I recently saw some episodes. So with them being in the band, I think it's Jane and the Studs.
Yeah.
I know it's at least Jane and the something.
That's true. Now, this is when I felt like their relationship kind of started to deteriorate. I can't say that word.
But that's the thing. I don't think it would have deteriorated if she didn't have the mindset that she had at the time.
But okay, this is where I feel like it started to deteriorate. So if y'all know, when Peter was going through all his stuff and they was asking like, oh, we need a new singer or whatever, and Jane was like, oh, I just fell in until y'all find somebody or until Peter come back, whatever. So I don't think Jane's plan was to originally like be part of the band. I just think she was trying to help somebody out. And because they were like, oh, you're so good, you should be part of the band, whatever. And Spinner was her boyfriend. She was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, let's do this thing. Now, like me, like I said, I felt like they were two independent individuals who came together. Now that they in a band together, they were spending literally every second together because they had practices every day. They had performances, all this stuff. She's still in school. I believe this is when he starts working at the dot. Well, he was already working at the dot, but like
being more of a manager.
Yeah, like he had a higher role in at the dot. So I just felt like, they were kind of settled, like not settling to be with each other, settling in like, when they say like people been married for so long, they did get so comfortable, and that, after a while it's like, oh, we need to do something to keep it fresh or whatever. It mean in high school years, because that's like, y'all
it's be like they've been together for 20 years.
Yeah, y'all be adding up them years, like 1 year is like 15 years for y'all. So they've been together what?
Not that much.
They've been together for like 2.5, almost 3 years at that point.
So it's like 30 years.
Yeah, they sitting here like comfortable. Of course, Spinner loving it. And Jane was like,
I feel like it's funny about relationships because I'm in one. But shout out to my boyfriend. I feel like you just like after a while, I feel like, and this is funny, after a while you do really get comfortable with them.
But I feel like that's a good thing. It's just in the way that you get comfortable.
Yeah, it's a good thing, but I feel like if you don't do anything like differently, like if y'all have a routine, I feel like that's what their downfall was. They had
okay. I was like, that's the part that's the bad part.
Yeah, if they had a routine, then that's gonna start getting kind of boring. And I think that's what happened with Jane and what happened to her next, and why their relationship had a downfall is because Jane probably was like, I need that excitement. Instead of telling her boyfriend that she needed
Yeah.
excitement, she decided to go a different route.
And see, that's exactly where, I was talking about earlier with Spinner, when they first broke up, even though it was only like 5 seconds. I don't know if you really counted, but the whole situation where Spinner was like, I'm not going to tell you about this because I think it's going to protect you or whatever. I feel like Jane was doing the same thing, but it was like, girl, you got mad at him when he lied to you about a school, and you sitting here and not telling him about something that's going to deteriorate your relationship in general.
And that's why I feel like it's an issue a lot in relationships, communication. Like, you gotta communicate, because if you don't communicate, like, you gotta communicate to a point that you're like, all right, you don't have to tell me every detail. Yes, I do. Because if I don't, you're gonna get upset.
Exactly. And I feel like, do.
Because in the long run, even though it seems annoying at first, in the long run, it is going to help. It's like, oh yeah, I kind of glad that he told
they said it or brought it up first. Yeah. So I feel like if Jane brought it up, that she was the relationship was starting to get stale, basically. Yeah. Like, she was like, y'all wasn't
a band together. Come on now.
But I don't think she stopped loving him or anything. It was just like, she was like, I need something. And instead of telling him, I need something, she's going out looking for it somewhere else.
Yeah, which is crazy to me, because if you really look back at Jane and Spinner's relationship, it was never a dull moment. Yeah. Never.
So that's probably, it was like, okay, well, all of a sudden it's dull now. It's like, where's the excitement? We just sitting here singing every weekend. I need something else.
And you getting gigs and everything. Yeah. You're a front runner in his band. He just a drummer.
Yeah. You wasn't even supposed to be here. That's not fair.
If that ain't exciting, I don't know what is.
And then I can't.
He letting you live your life. That's the thing. He letting you do stuff on your own.
Well, not letting.
I'm trying to be funny.
Like, not letting. It's
you're doing things on your own. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but I mean, like, they're both being their individual selves.
Yeah. And we're gonna keep saying it, because literally that's what made their relationship. They were two independent individuals coming together. And it was like, what in the world? What is this mature relationship?
Booty, you're not up my booty. Yeah. We're doing great. And then you ruin it.
I wonder if people even, like, excluding what we about to say, I wonder if people actually like them, because I feel like I hear people talk about Spane, because I don't even hear people say Spane. I would just say Jane and Spinner, because I feel like Spane do kind of sound weird.
Like Spane.
But like what?
Spam.
Oh. Some people, I'm okay with Spam. Just like Vienna sausages. I don't understand why people like haters on that.
Yeah,
but
it depends on how you make it.
That's true. But I feel like, I really like their relationship, but I just wonder how other people feel about it before we got to talk about it. I don't even want to say his freaking dumb name.
Elephant in the room.
Freaking Jane, out of all people at this school, bruh.
And Jane, you're not even ugly. Like,
you wouldn't get anybody you want.
Dude, you want any person.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, she could have been.
She could have been
open to anybody. Yeah. But maybe because he was new. That's my only explanation.
Contrary to the beliefs, not every new person looks shiny.
No, I just mean, like, Jane had been going to school for so long, so she already was friends with everybody. So she was like, these people, the excitement that she wanted, this new person who she has no clue who they are, is coming into the picture. So maybe that's where the excitement came in.
She had Bruce and Johnny, Damien, who else? Sav, Danny. I mean,
they were kind of young. They
hadn't banned, so
and they were younger than her.
Okay.
I ain't saying that's a bad thing, but obviously she like older dudes.
That's true.
Oh, except for freaking I can't even say his name.
Well, they was the same age, I think.
Oh my god, I can't.
I mean, you could have did something.
It just leaves a bad taste in my He had that whole issue. Yeah. And I'm
okay, y'all could have had a teacher affair. She could have did it with the new the math teacher / football coach, the black guy. That would have been something different.
You just making it far. Now he's like, let's see.
Only reason I'm saying this is because the person she chose, she really could have had anybody else but him. But him. I mean, Kelly could have came back.
I would have supported that. I would have supported Kelly.
I think now we just reaching now. But I don't understand.
And what makes it worse, and this what makes it worse. Holly J liked him. She told you she liked him, and you still went on and said, "Let me have friends with benefits with this dude." Keep on doing it, and then when your butt got caught, you gaslighted her.
Exactly. What do you think now?
Girl, that won't me. That was my twin.
Exactly. What you talking about? You saw me. That was not me.
And who is this person you talking about?
Exactly. I never met him.
Like he literally was talking to us not too long ago. We mean, I, I mean she, I mean Holly J ain't the sharpest tool in the shed at that moment,
Yeah.
but she ain't dumb. Even though that's what sharpest tool in the shed mean, but you know what I mean. Like she was not that smart, but she wasn't dumb either.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say it. Freaking thank you.
Declan.
I was like, let me not have to say it.
I know you didn't want to say it.
I don't like him in general. I didn't even like him before this. I didn't like him after this, in the future, etc. I just feel like, oh, and he also the dude. This I'm not coming at the actor because it's basically what I'm trying to say. But he also was a dude that spread the little truth or dare little disease around to Lucy Hale and Tyler Perry.
Well, he had to get rid of it, just like the ending of it. They had to get rid of it too. So
Yeah, and I thought the ending of that movie was so. Yeah, I'm gonna just go spread it to everybody. Let everybody have it. Like what?
we're not supposed to spoil the movie.
Oh, my bad.
That's why I said how they did it. Spoiler if y'all haven't seen Truth or Dare at this point.
Yeah, it's been like 10 years. I feel like.
I hope it hasn't been
I
that
don't
long.
think it's been 10 I don't think it was 2012. It was like 2000.
Can y'all believe 2012 was 10 years ago? That don't feel like that. That's crazy.
So I just felt like that whole cheating thing, it don't make sense because literally all he did was talk about like a story. Like I think that's literally how they started a relationship, whatever you want to call it.
And then he didn't even like woo her.
Yeah, like literally all he did was come in and was like, oh yeah, I think that's a good story. Or like either he agreed with her story, he completely like disregarded it. I can't remember. He was like, no, that don't make sense. Or he was like, yeah, that makes sense. I can't remember. Honestly, I don't listen when he talks.
To be honest, I think it's he said he didn't agree with it. Like him disagreeing with her made her panties drop or something.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he
That
just
made more
agreed with me.
That's made more sense to me than him agreeing because I don't think Jane likes somebody that's not gonna give her a challenge. I think that was the whole point.
Yeah. And then that whole gross thing, it's so gross to me. And I don't know if it's anybody else, but when she was like, oh, she went to his house or whatever, and they was going through the pictures, and she was like, oh, it's so cute, you and your family, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, y'all travel the world and do all this thing. She was like, at that time, I was like with my pigtails and rolling around in mud and stuff. And then he was like, oh, I don't know why girls be saying stuff like that. And she was like, what? And he was like, tomboys is so hot and stuff and like pigtail. I was like, I want to throw up. I want to throw up.
Remember, it did kind of sound like he was kind of like, kind of creepy.
Yes.
But if you think about it at his age, then that makes sense.
It makes sense. But I'm just saying though, it still made me want to throw up. Who want to make a comment like that? Like, oh, that's getting me hot because he said I was.
It's Declan.
That's so gross. I was like, I can't.
Out of all the
I can't.
Out of all the actors, out of all the characters, sorry, not the actor. Out of all the characters, that makes more sense to me. That he would say that.
And I mean, I ain't saying it don't make sense. I'm just saying it's gross. Like, I don't know. I felt like Declan was supposed to be this character that was supposed to be like suave and like yeah, and like a smooth talker, but I didn't get it. I was like when he came in, I don't know if it's because like he's rich and he's supposed to do the suave thing too. So you supposed to
make
be
him like a Chuck Bass.
yeah.
That didn't work.
Well, I don't know. For Chuck, I feel like it works and don't work. Like the earlier definitely don't work. Then when it goes into it, still kind of don't work. Honestly, I didn't really. It wasn't. I only kind of like Dan, and then when Dan was like, I don't know, becoming like the rich socialite. Okay, I'm just making sure because I was like, I didn't really like Chuck. I like they.
For me, I didn't want to like Chuck, but I liked him.
I didn't like Chuck. I kind of like their relationship. What's her name? Blair. I like Blair and Chuck's relationship a little bit, but
out of all the relationships, I like
relationship the most, just because it was the most authentic and most genuine relationship.
Yeah, and it was kind of like equal. It wasn't like with Dan and Serena. I feel like Serena was always like, "I'm rich, I can control this relationship because I can do whatever I want," and then Dan was like,
"Yes, my love, you can definitely do whatever you want to do."
Like how we basically said the same thing. You basically like saying, "Oh yeah, he was her little bitch," and I was like, "Yeah, he's a dog." He's like, "Yes."
I'm gonna kiss the floor you want.
Exactly. Like, dang. Okay. Well, at least honestly, it's true because we on the same wavelength with that. But I don't understand the appeal. Like, I really not trying to say I wanted to support Jane cheating because I really didn't. But I definitely didn't support it because it was Declan. Like, I
cheated with him.
Like, I kind of wanted to root for it. Maybe that's why I'm so upset about it. I kind of wanted to be like, "Oh, Jamie is scandalous," because Jane was supposed to be like this Wonder Woman hero female character. Yeah, and I still agree that that's how she is, but it's just like with her cheating, it humanized her in a sense because it's like not everybody's perfect. And so for them to be like, we're gonna choose Declan, I would have rather it been a girl. I would have rather it been a teacher. I would have rather been anybody else but Declan. I'm not saying choosing a girl would have been a bad option. I'm just saying cheating is bad in general. But I wanted to kind of root for it.
At least if she would have cheated on him with a woman, would have been more entertaining to watch.
Yes.
And less cringy to watch.
Yes. Holly J even. I would have supported that.
That's true. And I think people wanted that.
Yeah, I think
that's what people wanted. And people were so afraid that Holly J and Spinner was going to cheat. That was the thing. I think people were so afraid of that.
Holly J had a crush on him.
And they was like, "Spinner, you going to ruin the best thing that's ever happened to you." So they was like, "Nah, we're going to trick y'all.
That's how we're going to get you."
Actually going to be Jane that ruins everything. And it's like, ouch in my heart. Because that's how it was. He was like, "No, what are you doing?"
Exactly.
That was supposed to be Spinner.
I can't.
It's like, Jane, you were so great. Like you were, everything was in place. Y'all was living y'all lives. Y'all was doing what y'all was supposed to be doing. Spinner actually was doing what he was supposed to be doing. And then bam. That's it.
And I just feel like
ruined.
over
Declan.
I just feel like because somebody I posted something, I can't remember what I posted. I posted something about Jane cheating and being like, "Oh, that's so that doesn't fit her character, blah blah blah." And somebody was saying like, the whole situation where Jane and her father, if y'all know that whole situation, y'all should just go back because those were some good episodes. I feel like a lot of Jane's story was so good. Like every time they did a storyline for her.
Football, right?
Yeah, I think it was, or like same time. Yeah, it was like in that time.
She was a football player for a little bit.
Yeah, so I just feel like that whole storyline with her dad, you can kind of tell that affected her, and not saying that explains why she cheated, but it just kind of it makes more sense in the fact that like how you look at it, because if you're looking at it from like, oh, Jane's badass character, she's such a great girlfriend, she's loyal, she's confident, she's independent, she her own woman, blah blah blah. You looking at like, what the freak? Why would you cheat on your boyfriend? Like you literally fit together and you have all the things you want. Why would you mess it up? But then if you look at it from all of those things and like what she went through, like what she went through, you could tell it was more of a like, I don't. Like she kind of felt like this was too perfect and maybe she didn't deserve it. Or maybe she felt like, this is too good to be true. Like
it's gonna be ruined some way, and I'd rather ruin it myself than he ruin it.
Yeah.
If he ruins it, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Well, so sorry, I'm gonna lie to him.
But I don't know. I just felt like, that's looking at it more from that standpoint, I can kind of get a better understanding. Even though I still don't agree with it. Still shouldn't have happened, and I don't think that excuses her cheating, but I think that makes it more understandable. It makes it more like, okay, it's not truly unrealistic, if that makes sense.
I mean, the act of her cheating isn't unrealistic. It's just the person she chose.
Yeah, like why? And what makes me the most upset, and I think that's what made Spinner the most upset, like in the story, obviously, it's not real, but what made me most upset is they literally did it for like what, couple weeks, probably like a month. We didn't
for a while, and then when she stopped it, Declan was like, "Oh, remember when we did it?"
No, that's not what I was gonna say actually, but that was annoying too. what upset me, they did it for so long. It could have been months, it could have been weeks, I don't know. But then they just kind of like, well, definitely did bring it up. So technically they didn't completely forget about it. But it was like it never happened basically. Like Jane went back to Spinner, like they perfect relationship. Holly J started her relationship with Declan, even though Declan was mean. I don't understand how Holly J ended up with Declan, and that became like, don't expect the Holly J and freaking Declan episode, because I can't sit here for almost 2 hours and talk about Declan. It will be a Holly J episode if we ever do that. But at least from me, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about Declan.
Ever going to talk about any of Holly J's relationships?
No offense. Like, we didn't really love.
We would talk about Holly J's relationships. It was crack relationships.
Yeah, or Fiona. But I don't think we kind of already did an episode with friendship. So yeah. But I just felt like, I'm not gonna sit here for almost 2 hours and talk about Declan. That's so don't think Holly J and Declan episode. But I just felt like I don't understand how that relationship even was good or even started or whatever. I don't say it's good, but I mean, how people love it.
Out of all her relationships, it was the best one.
Not Sav and her. I don't even like Sav and her, and I feel like that was better than Declan.
Oh, I keep forgetting. I don't really count them as relationships because they wasn't really together.
They was together like half a second.
They was like messing around. I don't really count that. If you count that, then Sav and Holly J, of course. But then second best relationship she had. And that's saying a lot.
But I don't understand how it went to like this normalcy. Like they kind of like, and I don't think nobody who was watching it, because I can't remember if I was watching it as it was like in real time.
You were.
Oh, what? I'm probably sitting there like, what the freak? Are we ever gonna explain?
I remember sitting there watching that confused, like, so we just gonna pretend like it never happened.
Yeah, like where is Spinner gonna find out? Is this like, is certain things will happen? And they ain't even bring it up till right before she was about to graduate, bro. Mm-hmm. They ain't even bring this shit up until they was about to graduate.
And at the party, right?
I don't understand.
And he overheard it.
That's and I was gonna say, it wasn't even the fact that she told him. Declan told him nothing. Freaking Holly J, which I don't blame you, girl. This is the one time I don't think you had no wrongdoing.
It's not her fault.
I don't even think Jane like blamed her, but still,
I don't know. Definitely blamed herself, which you should.
Yeah, like it was your fault. But yeah, and I think people, not people, but like on the show, I mean, like people was like, Holly J, why you never told nobody? Because like you were supposed to be Spinner's best friend, whatever.
I'm a good friend.
Exactly.
I wasn't gonna tell nobody.
Exactly. I think some people was kind of mad she chose Jane over Spinner after that whole thing.
She was in love with Spinner, and she made sure she took her feelings for Spinner off for Jane.
Yeah,
girl, I was gonna pick Jane over Spinner any day.
Yeah, but that's what makes me most upset is they took a minute. They was like, wait a minute, we're gonna forget that this happened for a second and then bring it back up later. Like, no,
because we was all waiting for to find out, and we thought Jane was gonna take responsibility.
And like own up and be like, hey, I gotta tell you something. Or even Declan's dumbass was gonna be like, hey, I had your girl before, something stupid like that. I really thought that was happening.
I think Declan really wanted his relationship with Holly to work out. So that's why.
And then when Spinner, I thought Spinner was very presentable to just be like punching Declan and that was it.
Just imagine though, you thinking, oh, I'm about to live with because she graduated.
Yeah.
I'm about to live with my love of my life. We about to be together forever. I'm about to basically propose to her.
Yeah, I guarantee he was. That's probably what the whole thing was like.
And then I hear over here from her friend and her basically, because I think she was talking to her, that she cheated on me for months.
Yeah. And
then stopped, but still didn't tell me.
Yeah. And then that's another thing that pisses me off is that they were friends. Like it was a group of like Spinner didn't really like Declan. Or I wouldn't say like him, but like he was like something's off about. I don't know if he could tell that they were like messing around. I don't think he was thinking that. I just think he didn't like Declan's vibe. Yeah. And so like
he basically thinking in the back of his head he was right.
Yeah, basically, I had a reason to not like this dude. And I don't think, and not because he was rich, but like he acted rich. Like it's different between being rich and then acting like you have all this money and that you better than everybody. So I feel like that's kind of the vibe Declan was going around with. And that's another thing Spinner was just like I don't want to be around that.
Like his ish don't stink.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't like, because I just feel like Jane, that's what really felt uncharacteristic to me, was like Jane was better than that. She was not about to sit there for months and let this dude look like, because if I was Spinner, I would feel stupid. I'm walking around with this dude. I'm trying to build a relationship because I'm thinking my girlfriend is just friends with him. I ain't think they messing around.
Her friend is his girlfriend.
Yeah. So why would I
work
think
with her?
Yeah. So why would I think anything of it? And then I found out from y'all's kikiing over in the corner talking about, oh, you was like that, blah blah blah. Like, gross. Like, that's probably what they were talking about. Like, oh, do you think I should even try her?
I haven't had it yet, but I'm going to.
I can't. And then this is the whole freaking thing where freaking Simba came into it because Spinner went on his whole binge of like, I need to get rid of like the evidence of this relationship even happening. And then for some reason, Spinner coming to the freaking play. I don't even understand it. I ain't even want to talk about it because it's just like, it don't make sense. Click that to the corner.
I can tell y'all, she don't like Spinner, but I'm okay with it.
Okay, and that's just like me saying I'm okay with Sally and you don't like it.
Yeah, but I'm okay with talking about it. You don't want to talk about it at all.
Because it's only half a second. Why am I gonna sit here and waste my breath for a half a second relationship? That don't even make sense.
In hindsight, 2020 vision.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a situation like he was with this girl for years, he got betrayed by her. So then he wants to have fun with his friends, his original friends, which is Manny, Jay, and Emma coming along because Manny is her best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that they have a little thing in Las Vegas. They had a little thing. They got married. And then they decided, oh, we should get annulment because this don't make sense, which made sense. But then they realized this might be something here. I have nothing else going on. Let me just try it. Kelly left her.
No, she broke up with Kelly. We ain't gonna put no Kelly slander on here. Kelly did nothing wrong.
Her.
He didn't leave her.
Yes, he
went to go work, and she got upset.
He could have worked near her.
But no, like the issue was the fact that he said he didn't want to work for his father. And she was like, okay, so what you gonna do about it? And he said nothing basically. And she got upset and she said, I'm breaking up with you. And he said, okay, well, since you're breaking up with me, I'm going to work for my father. Lord, gonna come up in here and do that bullcrap.
Do it because if it wasn't for Kelly leaving her, she would have been with Spinner. And that's what you upset with is the Spinner Emma thing, correct?
Yes, but Kelly did not leave her. We ain't gonna put that slander out there. Kelly did not leave her. If Kelly wanted to be with her.
You can say Spinner don't work. I can say Kelly ruined that relationship.
Okay, so you okay with someone not even be a possibility no more?
You can't say that because you don't even think Spinner Emma.
I don't. But that goes back to me thinking they shouldn't even been together from the beginning. So I want that opening.
Together as long as they want to be together, and her and Sean can be together after that.
Oh my god!
I'm willing
to
poor
Spinner got to be by himself.
Spinner can go out with Spinner's a good catch. He'll find somebody else.
I just feel like I don't know. I feel bad for Spinner because I feel like he's in a lose-lose situation. Because I think after the whole,
no, Sean's gonna come back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we all know Sean gonna come back and they're gonna be together. And Spinner is not gonna go back with Jenna, with Jane. I don't think that
weird.
That really would have been weird. But I don't think that relationship has no. They may gonna see each other again, be like, "Hey, great to see you again. I had a great relationship when we were together," but that's never gonna happen again.
Okay, if y'all think can go back out with Paige,
honestly, yeah, that's the best bet. But y'all know this relationship ended when it ended. It's not going back,
and it's not because of the cheating; it's because of the lying.
Yeah. I don't think I had nothing to do with
the cheating. Gone.
Yeah, it was completely gone. And then this is another thing that pissed me off. See, the end of their relationship really pisses me off because after the math, when he comes back and they decide, Spinner and Emma decide, oh, we're gonna have a wedding, whatever. And Jane comes and they had a whole fight and that whole scene happened. Then Jane gonna freaking leave with Holly J and Declan to go to New York. What? And then her whole story changes because, like I just said, her goal was to be a lawyer. Now all of a sudden, because she's in a band with, the people that Spinner was in the band with, they trying to go to New York to be some sort of band or be in a band. Well, I think it was just Jane because they, they were still in high school, and then they ended up asking Manny to be the lead singer?
Because I think what ended up happening was, didn't they just want Jane?
I don't think so. I think it was like it was supposed to still be them as a group, and then Jane got an offer from some other band to be the lead singer, and she was like, I'm gonna go to New York and see what happens there. And they like, okay, so what we supposed to do? And she like, I don't know, do whatever y'all want to do. I don't know if Spinner still had it. I don't know if Spinner was still in it after that.
No, Spinner said I'm done with
Oh, okay, so yeah, it was basically, and then that's when Manny ended up singing for them, and they went on that whole tour and Degrassi Hollywood and all that. Yeah. But okay, but the ending of Jane and Spinner was when she left to New York, and I was so pissed off that she left with Declan and Holly J. Like, I get it, Declan got money.
Where
I'm gonna
else
go
is
with.
She supposed to go?
I get it. Declan got money, and I'm like, I want a free trip to New York, but I just felt like that way that whole symbolic ending, because like I just said, I feel like Degrassi kind of has a purpose for each of their stories, and the way they start, the way they end, what happens in the middle of it, blah blah blah. And I just felt like the some symbolism of freaking Spinner being with Emma, of Jane leaving with Holly J and Declan, it don't sit right with me. Like, at least
it's
Spinner,
because that's not what you wanted.
Exactly what I'm saying. But what's the symbolism there? Like, oh yeah, she gonna,
like me saying and Sean going to the army. I didn't want Sean to go to the
army. Wasn't a bad ending though.
Yeah, that's part of his story. Just like that is part of their story.
But I feel like Spinner got a chance to kind of come back, because we got to see him with the whole thing with Eli. We saw he still worked at the dye. I feel like with Sean, even though we don't see him after that, he went to the army. So like, that's just that's such a heroic thing. Jane leaving with freaking Declan's ass is not freaking symbolic.
But that's not that she's leaving with Declan. She's going to New York. That's the whole thing.
And then we don't even
in New York. It's not with Declan.
And then we didn't even get to see, because I think the next episode was the Degrassi movie thing, the Degrassi in Manhattan or Degrassi in New York. And it had nothing to do with Jane, I don't think. I think it was about when Fiona. I keep talking. When Fiona came into the picture and like was Declan's sister and all that stuff came to be.
Holly J and Fiona's friendship started. Let's be honest, even though they
hated. Yeah, but that's true. That's where the passion started. Honestly, I don't understand why they didn't let them be together. I think it had more to do with Holly J being with Declan than it had to do with
because that would be
a girl.
Because then that would break front family code, kind of.
A family code.
Yeah, because why would you go out with her brother?
What are twins?
With her sister? That's even.
I ain't saying twins should be able to date each other, but I'm just saying, like, it makes sense. Maybe they attracted to the same type of people.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying, like, that would be weird. Oh, I was with your brother, now I'm with you.
That's true. I think that's where Holly J's thing come into play. I don't think it's because Fiona was a girl. I think it's literally because she thought of her as a sister, not as like a romantic partner. So she was like, ew, like, you think of me that way? That's
she still weird.
Was
trying to be the sister-in-law.
Yeah. She was still like, I'm still gonna marry Declan. Like, that's still a possibility. So that's weird if we like do anything. I feel like that would have been kind of like a good storyline though. Just imagine that. Like, she's still in the back of Holly J's mind. She's like, I'm still gonna marry Declan, but her and Fiona messed around a little bit.
Oh my god.
That would have been a good storyline.
Scandalous.
That would have been good.
That would have actually been okay with me.
I know, right? That would have been a good storyline.
She still got the goal in mind, but she said, I still want to do the love of my life.
Yeah, like, it's still like in the back of my mind. But yeah, I just feel like, I don't like the way that Spane ended. It really upsets me.
I don't like how it ended either, because again, it wasn't her character.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
And yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. I don't do, when I say I don't like Spinner, I don't like the relationship, but I don't think the way that Spinner's story in that aspect and Emma's story in that aspect was bad. I just felt like, I knew they were going to come back eventually. I know
waste of time.
Yeah, it really is. And it's upsets me.
What you think about it.
That's what I'm saying, man. I'm saying exactly what I'm dead ass saying what you just said. And I just feel like with Jane's storyline, they kind of just was like, we don't care anymore. You cheated.
And that's how I feel about Sally. Waste of time.
It was a waste of time, but they got to they still had time after that to fix the story.
Makes sense. And why would you live with him? Girl, find
because
your
they
own
both
place.
was in. They both was all in. What you talking about? Didn't he live with her? Not her live with him.
Dude,
I was like, wait, didn't he live with her?
Every time Sean goes somewhere else, that's his place.
Honestly,
Ellie, you move out.
You should have go away.
Ellie is not one of my favorite characters. I'm sorry.
Dang, what girl do to you?
She ain't do nothing to me. But she turned down Jimmy. I don't know how many times. But you want to go out with Sean? Why?
Was Sean not attractive?
Oh yeah, Sean.
Okay, so
Sean is my boo. You know that. But I was always for him and Emma. That's it. I was always for him and Sean. But I was always for him and himself. I'm always for him and Emma. 100%.
This is my thing.
I rather him go out with Manny. Try that. Then go
out
with
I kind of wish that kind of would have made sense. My thing with the whole Sally thing and the Spimmer thing, I feel like Sally, Sean and Ellie,
that's crack relationships right there. They did crack relationships.
I feel like Sean and Ellie was a necessary relationship at the moment. I feel like the timing was right,
and that's
I feel like the timing made sense. I feel like they kind of needed each other at that moment, and then after that, I was okay with they break. I didn't like how they broke up, but I understand why they broke up, and then I feel like they needed that relationship to grow and go into their other relationship. That's not how Stella did it. They did not end. They did not. That's my point. We don't know why we get to see Sean go from that relationship, him go back with Emma, him grow as a person, as an individual. Then that whole freaking thing with Peter happened, which that was on Peter, and then he decided he's gonna go in the army. With Ellie, I don't know what happened with Ellie. I'm not even gonna sit here and try to lie and say that relationship helped her. I think it made her worse. But we still saw her going to honestly. So yeah, after that, we ain't gonna talk about it anymore.
How you explain it? You said they both needed each other. You said they both was there for each other. I feel like the same thing with Spinner.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't dislike that they were together, and I feel like, okay, if it was that they needed a friend, and then
they got married.
Yeah, I'm mad they got married and then stayed married, and then it was like, oh, we're gonna have a whole event about this when we know y'all not gonna stay together. They was not gonna stay together.
I mean, it is what it is. That's how they ended their story. But at the end of the day, Spinner is happy.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. Spinner's story ended okay, even though I didn't want him and Emma to be married. His story ended okay.
And like, he always continued to look like he was happy.
Yeah, Jane's story did not end well, and then she didn't get no sort of. We didn't get to see her succeed.
That's what happens when you cheat on somebody.
But to see, that's what I'm saying. It goes back to her cheating. But if y'all didn't include that right at the last second, then we could have got some sort of cute story. Freaking upsets me. That's all I gotta say.
Is one of your favorite characters.
If
you didn't like her, you wouldn't have cared.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, okay. But okay. And I'm trying not to like make this go 2 hours, whatever. But what upsets me, somebody like Holly J, who everybody just like for such a long time had, and Shantae, and I forgot who else, I think Anya, they got their whole symbolic thing with their hands in the mud and their names is engraved into the school forever, whatever. And then you have other characters. We all know what happened with the 2007 class where like Liberty, Emma, Manny, they had their whole issue. Yeah, that too. I didn't even think about that. But the way it ended at Degrassi was like they had some after all that turmoil they just had within the last like 2 episodes before they graduated, they squashed it and they was like, let's celebrate JT because he should have been here with us. Stuff like that. But Jane gets a freaking see her ex-boyfriend, who yes, her fault because she cheated, see him get married to some other girl within a couple of weeks of them breaking up. And then she goes to New York with freaking Declan. Like, make that make sense. How she get that symbolism? Like she was a half-baked character, but all these other characters get these special endings.
Because she did the worst deed you can do.
And I agree with that, but I just wish Degrassi would have like, okay, at least let us resolve it earlier.
Basically, they saying this is her karma.
That's not
watch
fair.
The love of your life.
That's not fair.
Get married to some
can we have that? And then on the next episode, when they do the Degrassi takes on New York or whatever, have her be in it and be like, let's see her succeed.
No,
that's not fair.
They're not gonna give you that.
Not fair.
The reason why they ain't gonna give you that because it's basically like then that's helping her.
Yeah,
not
let's help
helping
her.
her no
She's a good
more.
character.
No, her character shot. She done.
It's not fair.
Bye.
It's not fair. I just
Why
feel
can't you
like
pay her?
all these special endings, and then, well, to be honest, I don't know if this was her last episode, but Ellie didn't get no special ending either. Her ending was Craig kissed her goodbye and was like, "I never want to see you again," basically, or "I'm never going to see you again."
Bye.
That was a sad ending too.
Bye, Ellie. Like your bye.
Yeah. But okay, that's all I gotta say about the main, because it riles me up how they really just like, okay, Jane, you cheated, so we're gonna give you this flick ending, but Spinner gets to get married and be happy.
You get to see him be happy.
Some bull.
Cause that's what she wanted to end, was for Spinner to be happy.
Yeah, and that's great.
Maybe that's what. Maybe that's what she's like. Okay, be happy.
No, because Jane is not that type of character. She should have got upset, threw some tables. I'm just saying that's not her character either. But I'm just saying that just pisses me off.
She should have probably fought for him a little bit more, but she probably said nothing I can do.
Yeah. But I ain't saying the ending should have been her fighting for him. The ending should have just been like, okay, I understand what.
Anyway. Like, I would agree with you. They should have shown her in New York more.
I feel like the ending could have at least been like, okay, I understand what I did. I need to work on being better. Maybe get some help.
Like, she could have wrote a song and recorded a song about her experience.
That probably would have been cringy. I'm just saying that probably would have been cringy.
Like, actually get a songwriter, Degrassi. That's what I mean.
But we saw Euphoria when everybody was like, "Oh, Elliot's song."
In a moment, Elliot's song was good, but in the moment, it was kind of like, why are y'all playing this now?
That's true.
It still was a good song. Like, if you hear the actual song without thinking about the show, it's a good song. But at the moment, it was like, we don't need this right now. Where's Cassie and Maddie at?
That's
what we
true.
was thinking about. What they doing? Why we ain't going back to Fez?
That's true.
What we were thinking about.
I'm over it.
Yeah, but my final thoughts on Spane. I was about to say Simba.
I know
that's a different episode. My thoughts about Spane. Just feel like Spinner, I think he got the send off he deserved. Jane, unfortunately she didn't, but that's how life goes. And maybe they gonna go back to it on a reboot. They could. Maybe they're gonna be married. We don't know. But all I know is it was a great relationship. Something that I think we all needed to see. Unfortunately, yes, she ruined it by cheating on her wonderful boyfriend. But hey, that's life. And that's what Degrassi was showing us. Showing us it's life. You gonna ruin your relationship sometimes.
I can't.
So just remember, communication is key. And honesty.
Okay. Oh yeah, honestly, yeah. But I'm over it. I can't, because it's just gonna be like me saying the same thing over and over again. So yeah, I like their relationship. Just wish the ending was better, and that's all I'm gonna say.
All right. Well, this has been Degrassi Class of Nostalgia.
You wait. What's the next episode?
Oh, I am.
Oh, it was like, dang, you ended it. We didn't even lead them with no.
Do we say what we do?
Yeah, like next episode. Yeah,
oh.
I was like, do she notice I'm not saying it either? I'm looking at her like,
I know we usually say it, and then I say next episode.
Honestly, we could, but I was like, dang, she ended it quick.
We always do something different. We don't stick.
We don't stick
to stuff. Yeah. But next episode. Next episode is gonna be Degrassi, the craziest hookups.
Ooh wee.
So,
but do we mean like craziest, like shocking, or craziest like, ooh, that was kind of
all of the above? Like, might as well talk about everything.
That's true.
The one that made you say, yes, or ooh, that's weird.
But yes, this has been Degrassi, the Class of Nostalgia. I've been Michaela.
And I've been Amber.
And we'll see y'all next time.
See you next time.